What's wrong with some of these men taking their women's paychecks at the end of the month?
Stopped dating around the time when I found out that there are women out here who are giving their boyfriends their work checks, and their boyfriends are giving them money out of that check for them to go and spend. I don't compete nowhere where I can't compare. The playing fields are not leveled at this point. Y'all got it. Y'all the elitist employees. You can have all of them and you deserve them.
Let's break it down, starting with the sheer audacity of someone expecting their partner to hand over their hard-earned paycheck. It's like, imagine you're putting in the hours, dealing with the grind, only to come home and hand it all over to someone else. I mean, who does that? It's like giving away your autonomy, your independence, on a silver platter. And then there's the insidious manipulation, convincing someone that they're not good with money so they should hand it over to someone who supposedly is. It's a control tactic disguised as concern. But it's not concern, it's a power play. It's about exerting dominance, about making someone dependent on you for their basic needs, and that's just not right. I've heard stories like this before, where one partner ends up financially beholden to the other. It's a slippery slope, starting with innocent joint accounts and ending with one person holding all the cards. And the worst part is when the victim starts believing they deserve it, that they're somehow incapable of managing their own finances. It's a twisted narrative that needs to be debunked.
I've never done this, but I did have a roommate in first year university, and she would, so her boyfriend was unemployed or working some weird job that wasn't sustainable or whatever. Regardless, so she would drive him home every morning, come back, and then she would use our like grocery foods to feed him. So like if there's like a package of 5 sausages, she would make 3 because he's really hungry and he whatever. It got to a point where she actually dropped out of school. This poor girl was so cute and so smart. She just was enamored by this guy who was just sucking her dry. And like, you know, I just remember like she'd be down there cooking, and then they would set up, and you know, me and my other roommate, because we had this it was a townhouse kind of thing, but me and my other roommate, we were just watching this being like, what do we do, what do we say, you know? And eventually we did have a sit down conversation with her, but for some reason she didn't hear us as coming to her as women. She heard us was as like attacking her and her boyfriend, and she's like, well, it's not that big of a deal, it's not that big of a deal. I'm like, well, if it's not that big of a deal, then maybe he can put some bread behind this, you know? Of course, she ended up feeling alienated, and she left. I haven't thought about her in like at least 15 years. The self-esteem was so low on her face and everything. And when I tell you she was beautiful, she literally could have been a model. And you know what? They do say that. I mean, like, I struggle with it too because I'm like super stunning and gorgeous. But like, you let someone like that get into your head and make you feel like you have to jump through all these hoops, and if you're not used to being treated kindly, oh boy, well, me, I've been guilty of this so many times, you know? But if you're not used to being treated kindly, and if you don't know what boundaries are, when that man says he's gonna leave you because you're not cooking eggs in the morning, you jump 2 feet 10 toes down. That was weird. You accommodate things that you probably shouldn't, is what I'm trying to say.
I remember a roommate I had back in the day, sweet girl, smart as a whip. But she got caught up in this cycle of giving everything to her boyfriend, even to the point of sacrificing her education. It was heartbreaking to watch, knowing she deserved better but feeling powerless to intervene. It's like watching a car crash in slow motion, knowing you can't stop it.
Giving their boyfriends their work checks.
Unfortunately, this has been happening for a long time. I have experience of this. I was married in 2002. My son came along in 2004. I had been with my ex-husband then for 2 years previously. A year into the relationship, we moved in together into a place outside of hospital accommodation, which is where we were living at the time. And we opened a joint bank account, perfectly normal. Everybody does it. We opened a joint bank account because we had household bills to pay, and we decided it would be good if they were all in one place. The original idea was to split the bills and put that amount of money from our own bank account into the joint account. Absolutely. Started to get to the point, once we had gotten married, that he was like, maybe we should just get paid into the joint account. That'd be easier. Then we can transfer out. Stupid here, didn't think anything of it. So that's what we did. And my son comes along and the attitude starts to change a bit. And I would have to start explaining what I needed to take the money out of the joint account for. I was on maternity leave, but I was still getting paid. So I was still putting money into the account, but I was having to sort of justify why I needed it. And I don't mean for like household bills and food and things like that and, the general things that babies need. I meant that if I wanted something, I'd get questions about it and I'd have to sort of justify why I needed it. And my ex-husband would start saying things like, well, I don't mind you spending on things, but I want you to have something to show for it. Meaning that he thought that what I was spending money on was like frivolous and things like that. And it wasn't necessarily, it was just, I wanted some clothes or I wanted some new makeup or something like that. It wasn't just stuff that didn't, that just disappeared or, was an unnecessary purchase. It was just the stuff that I wanted. But anything that I bought was then deemed by him to be not worthy of it, and he'd get annoyed if it wasn't something he deemed to be, something to show for it. So he would sort of then, if I wanted to go shopping, it was like, well, you could take this amount of money out of the account. And I was back working at this point, and I'd be like, that's my money. Yeah, but you're not very good with it. And I think that a lot of the fact that this is still happening shows it can be two things. It can, first of all, in the more sort of minor way, but then becoming more of a major problem, it can show that, these men, not all of them, I am not saying that before anyone comes to me or comes for me, not all of them, but these men in particular that are doing this, that are taking the paychecks, are scared of independent women, and they want to turn them into like the non-independent women, obviously. But the other more the more dangerous problem is, not that that isn't a dangerous problem, but that can be a more dangerous problem, is this is what starts off financial abuse, and it happens slowly in a lot of cases where you don't realise that you're being financially manipulated until it's too late. The beginning of the end of my marriage came from me waking up, and when I went back to work properly, when my son was a little bit older, was about a year old, because I wasn't allowed to take any more maternity leave from that because that was deemed as not worthy. But I went back into full-time employment, and my ex-husband stayed at home and worked part-time, which he hated. I categorically refused at that point to get paid, because it was a new job, into the joint account. I said no. I said I'm going to be paid into my account and I will put the money into the joint account. And I kept it like that. And then other things, but then I became more independent, then I wanted to go back to college, and then things started to happen, and he decided to leave because he didn't like the way things were going. But yeah, kudos completely to the girls like this, and to anyone like this who is having to give their partner, or is learning from the fact that, from giving their partner paychecks and all these kind of things, and has decided, nah, this is the way I'm going to stay. Because I think that those people are doing the best thing that they can to keep themselves safe. And I wish that I had learnt quicker and got back to being financially independent a lot quicker than I did.
And it's not just about the money, it's about the erosion of self-worth. When you're constantly made to feel inadequate, it takes a toll on your psyche. You start doubting yourself, questioning your every move. And that's exactly what these manipulators want. They want to keep you under their thumb, always second-guessing yourself. But there's a glimmer of hope in stories like yours, where you and your partner have maintained financial independence for over a decade. That's the way it should be. A partnership built on equality and mutual respect. It's about sharing the burdens and the joys, not about one person holding all the power. And let's not forget the importance of setting boundaries. It's about knowing your worth and refusing to settle for anything less. If someone tries to dictate how you should spend your hard-earned money, that's a major red flag. It's a sign that they don't respect you as an equal, that they see you as nothing more than a means to an end. So to all the women out there who are being manipulated into handing over their paychecks, I say this: know your worth, set your boundaries, and don't be afraid to walk away from anyone who tries to control you. You deserve better, plain and simple. And to the men who think it's okay to exploit their partners for financial gain, I have two words for you: grow up. Real men don't prey on the vulnerabilities of others. They lift them up and empower them to be their best selves. It's time to break this cycle of manipulation and create a world where equality reigns supreme.
They're giving them money out of that check.
My mom used to do this shit. My mom used to do this shit when she was dating a guy that she was with for like 10 years. He was very manipulative. Both of them were in a very toxic relationship. They're both really shitty people. But yeah, she used to go to work every day, work like 40 plus hours a week, cutting hair and coloring hair and doing whatever the fuck else. And then she'd turn around and give him all of her money from her paycheck. And he would give her a portion of that so that she could actually spend some of it. And according to her, it was because she's just so irresponsible with it. I wonder where she got that from.
Boyfriends, their work check.
No, it's fucking terrible. The amount of busters and dusties there are out here is just fucking absurd. I used to date a guy. Hi, Kat. I used to date a guy that used to take my money out of my purse. Every time he seen my purse, he would go in it and take my money. And then I had to start hiding my money at work. And then when he found out about it, he was like, "Why are you lying to me? Tell me you ain't got no money." Bitch, I ain't got no money for you. The fuck? Like, what are you talking about? Anyways, R.I.P. to my fucking self-worth when I was that young. The fuck?
Boyfriends are giving them money out of that.
Me and my partner have been together for 11 years, April 27th. And we've always had our own money. I mean, obviously, if one of us is struggling, we'll help him out, you know? Like, but we split the bills in half. He pays half, I pay half, whatever money that I personally have left over after paying the bills, that's my money. And it's nice because it's not all our money together, so special occasions, he's buying me stuff with his money. I'm buying him stuff with my money. And we go in together for our kid and for our bills. It's great. And then, as I said, like, if one of us is struggling, we help out. We don't let each other flounder, but for the most part, that doesn't happen.
Watch this video twice because my brain refused to comprehend it the first time. What do you mean I'm putting in all this work? I'm going to work, showing up. I'm dealing with customers or coworkers or whatever. For me to get a check weekly or bi-weekly, for me to bring it home to my boyfriend, because I don't seem like a boyfriend, and it's just like, oh yeah, give me your check you worked hard up and I'm gonna give you what I feel is right for you. Can you imagine? I'm not laughing at the women that this happens to, but men know who to do it to, because can you imagine someone said that to me, like, oh, give me the money and I'm gonna see what's fit for you. The whole check is fit for me because I worked it. First of all, I'm already mad that I had to pay Uncle Sam the little bit he had to get, or the lot of bit he had to get. So the fact that you think I'm paying two men or giving two men my money is outright insane. Women, you need to stand up, you need to do better, you need to know your worth, because that is absolutely ridiculous. And that is why, again, I am all for the 4B movement. Women need to stay on their own, be alone, because men are not treating us right. Every day I get on this app, I start understanding Cell Block Tango a lot more. It was not murder. No, it was murder, but it's not a crime, because how dare you? If you try to do that to me, I'm going to kill you. I really am. My favorite one is we had artistic differences. He saw himself as alive and I saw him dead. Yeah, I'll kill you for my money, because how dare you try to take my check? And any man agreeing that they're entitled to their girlfriend's money that they worked hard for, any woman, any person agreeing that they're entitled to anybody else's check, you really need to seek therapy. Use the money you're taking from the check to seek some therapy, because I can't believe this. Like those women said, if you would have been there, if you would have seen it, I bet you would have done the same, because I really have to put my hands on you and take your life.
Let's break it down and explore 10 reasons why it's downright wrong. Point 1. Lack of autonomy. First off, expecting your partner to hand over their paycheck robs them of their autonomy. It's their money earned through their hard work, and they should have the freedom to decide how to spend it without feeling pressured or coerced. Point 2. Unequal power dynamics. This practice perpetuates unequal power dynamics within relationships. By controlling the finances, one partner gains undue influence over the other, creating a dynamic that's ripe for manipulation and abuse. Point 3. Financial control. Financial control is a form of abuse, plain and simple. It's a tactic used by abusers to exert dominance and keep their partners dependent on them. By controlling the purse strings, they effectively control every aspect of their partner's life. Point 4. Undermining independence. Expecting your partner to hand over their paycheck undermines their independence. It sends the message that they're incapable of managing their own finances and need someone else to do it for them. This erodes their self-confidence and self-reliance. Point 5. Lack of trust. At its core, this practice reflects a fundamental lack of trust in your partner. It implies that you don't trust them to make responsible financial decisions and need to micromanage their every move. Trust is the foundation of any healthy relationship, and this practice undermines it completely. Point 6. Disrespecting contributions. When you expect your partner to hand over their paycheck, you're essentially disrespecting their contributions to the relationship. You're reducing their worth to a mere financial transaction, overlooking all the other ways they contribute to your life. Point 7. Stripping away agency. Handing over your paycheck to your partner strips away your agency and decision-making power. It leaves you feeling powerless and beholden to someone else's whims and desires, stifling your ability to live life on your own terms. Point 8. Financial vulnerability. This practice leaves the partner handing over their paycheck financially vulnerable. They become dependent on their partner for their basic needs, making it difficult for them to leave if the relationship turns sour. It's a form of economic coercion that traps people in toxic situations. Point 9. Reinforcing gender stereotypes. Expecting women to hand over their paychecks to men reinforces harmful gender stereotypes. It perpetuates the outdated notion that men should be the breadwinners and women should be financially dependent on them. It's a regressive mindset that has no place in modern relationships. Point 10. Lack of respect. Ultimately, expecting your partner to hand over their paycheck boils down to a lack of respect. It's a disrespectful and degrading practice that diminishes your partner's worth and undermines the foundation of your relationship. Respect is earned through mutual appreciation and understanding, not through financial manipulation.